about that Simon Fraser trip a little bit. It's one of the tougher road trips in the league, and for your team, you guys have a pretty tough stretch of road games in the first half of the schedule. When it comes to playing on the road, how do you like how this team handles those road game challenges?
Well, as far as the kind of reverse of your question, is like the team has responded well on the road. I think they gel, they enjoy each other on the road. There's a focus about them that I appreciate and then really respect and value with these guys. So when it's time to get on the plane, get on the bus, they're fired up about that, and there's a focus about them that it shows through the program. And as you're looking at as a head coaching perspective, this is one of those things stakes. Okay, I value that with them. The Simon Fraser trip is obviously one of the tougher trips because not only is it a travel to the north, but it's also the international travel that comes with it. The collecting of passports and stuff that you have to do. So our guys did an outstanding job of doing what they had to do to prepare to do that trip. Now, when you get to the trip there, there's times where the weather brought in a chance that you couldn't really get a walk through in a different football field, so we go in a parking lot, whatever it takes, just to get it done right. So I really appreciate our team and to come out with a victory on a tough road trip like that against what I thought was a very competitive team. I know their coaching staff does an outstanding job. They're well coached. They played tough. They have a lot of pride. It was obviously you see the scores. It was a tough, good football game, and so we're happy to come out there with a win. Our young guys really did. They took that, understood that, and I was really appreciative to where we came out this game playing some really great defense. And there's a lot to go, a lot to grow still. No one should be hanging their hat and feeling like they're a Hall of Famer because we're not there. But as a coaching staff, you got to look at that and say, yes, we did grow. Yes, we did improve. Yes, we did play faster defense. Yes, we did play with a more committed spirit about it. And that's where, as a coach, you're like, okay, we're moving forward. And this next week's opponent provides us an even more unique challenge when it comes to responsibility.
How happy are you with the development of your weapons in the passing game? You got Robinson, you got Thrope with a big catch and the game-winning drive. Talk about your offense and the development of the multiple weapons that you can go to both in the air and on the ground.
Well, I'm happy with the development. Development's the key word. We're not in any way, satisfied with it all. We're not in any way saying like, oh, the standard's being hit, but the development is happening. The growth is happening, and that's where you want to see every week. Is like that growth is there. The potential of this offense is still way above it right now. It's a higher ceiling out there that we're developing ourselves to try to go achieve that. But potential, we all know, is worth nothing. It's all about, hey, what can you develop? How can you grow? So we did see this last week, a good development. We've got the tools there to become one of the most to recent history, one of the most prolific passing offenses we've had in quite a while. So they'll keep working hard. Coach Carlton and the offensive staff does an amazing job. I think that we've got the right pieces there, and there's a hunger in that receiving core, there's a hunger in the quarterback, and particularly what needs to be noted is the offensive line. And I thought the offensive line play was much better this week to give our passing game the opportunity to become what they did this last week. But now that's last week. That's ancient history. We've got a lot of work on the table to get better for this next week coming up.
Talk a little about your opponent this week, Dixie State, another type of rival type of game, just because the close proximity of
it's always a very spirited game. It's they've done a lot with that program. They've got high goals. We've got our continued goals and standard that we're trying to achieve for ourselves. I have no doubt that we'll get their absolute very best. What we got to do for us is continue to grow and develop. We've got to get hungrier. We've got to come to work today with a real right attitude to say, man, there's so much on the table that we still got to pick up. We left offensively on the table this last week, and we've got to make sure we fix what it is and grow and develop it. And that's where I'd say where we're at as a program. This unique 2015 team has got talent. It's got a grit to it that I appreciate. But we've got to keep getting hungrier and hungrier because the development that we need to do is obvious to us, and we've got to make sure it happens. You can't just hope it happens. So we're going to work really hard today and get to work with an opponent coming up. They present some challenges with their offense, their new offense they have coming in. Their offense coordinator came in. it's essentially like a triple option offense. They run the quarterback. Blake and Trevor, I think, are both very viable candidates to start this week and present us some unique challenges in their own right. They both can run. They know their systems there. I think their offensive line is moving well. We've got to make sure defensively we're preparing for an option football team. Essentially, that's good. It's trying to create plays in all three phases.
And then go back. Just got a couple more things. One, defensively again, you guys were able to find ways to pressure the quarterback, create some turnovers against Simon Fraser. How much of your defensive strength is matchup based, and how much is just having to do with your team and their preparation coming into it?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think there is a matchup based thing. The answer is yes and yes. There is a matchup based things that Simon Fraser presented us to be able to create some more pressure opportunities. But there's also back to our personnel that they developed this week. I keep saying the word developed, and thank you, Steve, for bringing that up. But you gotta keep growing. Our guys, obviously we hated what happened in week 2, and they responded very well. They realized, okay, this is how you play the game. This is how you play our defense. And so personnel-wise, we're figuring out those playmakers in our personnel that can help create some things. And collectively, they're responding. Collectively, they're growing. Collectively, they're becoming more comfortable with our schemes and what we do things. I mean, this is a relatively new defense when it comes to personnel-wise. And the secondary only has 2 returning starters in it. There are other spots in the defense that has veterans, but with all that, it's our first time of really getting this much playing time. So I really believe in this group. I really believe that the best is still yet to come for them defensively. But the truth of the matter is we've got a lot of work to do, and we're going to get after today and tomorrow, and we're going to make the most of what we have in front of us.
And then just last one, kind of comparing yourself and Dixie State, you've had some good positive results, and then the one at home that you had to bounce back from this last week. Dixie, they're in a similar boat. They had a great win at home over Central Washington, then traveled to Humboldt last week, and now they get to come back home again. What kind of knowing what you know about Dixie State and their head coach and their program, what do you expect to see from them on Saturday?
Well, it's a entirely different program, so I can't really compare the two. I just know we were going to play them this Saturday, and with that, Scott's a good coach. He's head coach, so he's from what I know about the guy, he's there a lot of pride, and they're going to get after it. So, for all I can do is take care of us, and all I can do is just challenge our program and challenge myself as a head coach to say, man, we've got to get better. We've got to keep growing. We've got to attack this day with real fervency that can say you got a chance at excellence. Otherwise you're fooling yourself. This is a very hard business. This league is a tough league, and every single week you've got an opponent that can get after you, and so we know. And we're gonna make sure we raise ourselves up to a standard to play our very best. We want to make sure that they come out this Saturday and say, I want to turn the tape on and say, man, we play our best football, and that's kind of where we're at, man. There's an urgency right now. Hungry myself to get this thing going, and we got 2 wins under our belt. I know that we have yet to play our best football, and so we're going to get after this.
Great. Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you.